Today, we are going to teach on topic 7, which is the teaching across age levels. We will be your teachers for today. My name is Christina.
And my name is Shamiha.
My name is Mate.
My name is Amali.
And my name is Arin.
How do we teach across age levels? First, we must be well versed in what we teach and mindful of our learners' age and level to avoid presenting material they cannot comprehend. Teachers need a strong command of the subject and understanding of their students' developmental stage. Choosing material that is too advanced will overwhelm learners, while material that is too simple may bore them. Secondly, we also have to look for a correct way to teach in every level. Each age group learns differently, so teaching methods must be adapted. For example, children may need games and visuals. Teens may benefit from discussions and critical thinking, while adults may prefer practical, real-life applications. Lastly, we need to consider that teaching children is not the same as teaching adults or teens, as numerous considerations influence a teacher's approach to class development. Teachers must recognize the unique needs, motivation, and abilities of each group. Lesson designs, activities, and materials should reflect these differences to make learning meaningful and effective. There are 3 parts for this lesson. The first part is teaching children, the second part is teaching adults, and the last part is teaching teens.
So the first part is teaching children. Teaching children is not always easy because we must think about how they act and what they are interested in. We also need to use different techniques in the classroom to make the topic suitable for them. When teaching children a second language, teachers need special skill and intuition. To help with this, there are 5 practical approaches we can focus on. So first, intellectual development, attention span, sensory input, affective factors, and lastly, authentic, meaningful language. So, the first point of intellectual development is children are centered on the here and now, on the functional purpose of language. This means that when children are developing intellectual, they focus more on what is happening right now rather than on past or future situation. For example, a child say, I want juice to get something now, rather than talking about yesterday I wanted juice, or tomorrow I might want juice. Second, rules, explanation, and even slightly abstract talk about language must be approached carefully. This means children at early stage may not fully understand grammar rules or abstract explanation like explaining why verb change tense. For example, instead of explaining, you must use plural from more than one. You can just say 1 dog, 2 dogs, and show it with a picture.
The second point for teaching children is children usually have shorter attention spans, which means they can only stay focused for a limited amount of time. Because of this, it is important to design lessons with short, fun, and interactive activities. If tasks are too long, children may become restless, distracted, or lost interest quickly. Breaking lessons into smaller parts helps them stay engaged and gives them frequent chances to refocus. Using games, songs, or hand-on activities can also make learning more enjoyable and easier to children to understand.
For the third point is sensory input. Children learn best when all of their senses are involved. If they only listen, they may forget quickly, but when they can see, hear, touch, smell, and even taste, learning becomes more fun and easier to remember. That's why teachers need to be creative. We can use technology like videos, sounds, and interactive tools along with activities and games to make the lessons more engaging. The more senses we use, the deeper learning experience for children.
For the next point, affective factors. Children are very sensitive to how their peers react, and this can affect their confidence and participation in class. They also need encouragement and positivity from the teacher to feel motivated. For example, if a child makes a mistake while answering, instead of letting others laugh or ignoring it, the teacher can say, "Good try, I like how you're thinking," and then guide them to the correct answer. This way, the child feels supported and stays confident.
For the last point of teaching children, which is authentic, meaningful learning, children are focused on what can actually be used for here and now, relatability. Children learn best when they see a direct connection between what they are learning and their daily lives. If a lesson or skill can be applied immediately, it feels more valuable and exciting. Relatable learning helps children stay motivated because they understand how to use the lesson. Other than that, they are also less willing to put up with language that doesn't hold immediate rewards. Unlike adults, children are less patient with abstract or future use learning. If language feels too distant from their reality, they quickly lose interest. For example, long grammar explanations or even vocabulary lists without context may feel meaningless to them. They need to see the benefit right away, like using new words to play a game, talk to a friend, or role play a real situation.
Now, moving on to the next part, which is teaching adults. It differs in a few aspects when it comes to teaching adults than other age levels. Teaching adults is not the same as teaching children or teenagers. Adults have more maturity, responsibilities, and experiences, so lessons need to be approached differently to match their needs and learning style. Adults are an age of maturity, yet less knowledgeable of English lessons. Thus, why as a teacher, we have to apply different teaching aspects during the lesson in class. Even though adults are mature, many may not have strong English knowledge. This means teachers must adapt their methods, making lessons practical, supportive, and relevant while respecting the learner's maturity. Teaching adults have the same categories of practical approaches as teaching children.
So the first point is intellectual development. Adults are more able to handle abstract rules and concepts. This means they can think beyond the present and understand more complex or theoretical ideas. For example, an adult can learn grammar rules such as verbs changed with tense and apply them, while a child needs simple example like I eat versus I ate.
For the second point for teaching adults is, even though adults usually have longer attention spans because of their maturity, it is still better to keep activities short and simple. Long tasks can make learners lose interest or feel tired, especially if the topic is not exciting to them. Shorter activities are easier to follow, give learners a sense of progress, and help them stay motivated. They also allow teachers to include different types of tasks, which makes learners more enjoyable and keep everyone engaged. This way, lessons remain effective and learners can focus better without feeling overwhelmed.
So for the third point is the sensory input. For teaching adults, sensory input does not always need to be quite varied with adults, but one of the secrets of lively adult class in their appeal to multiple senses. It means adults don't always need a lot of different types of learning materials, but one way to make an adult class more lively is use activities that involve more than one sense. Even though many adults can learn well just by listening or looking, if you add other senses like touching things or moving around, it makes the lesson more interesting. This also helps adults stay engaged and remember what they learn for a longer time.
For the next point, affective factors. When teaching adults, teachers should remember that even if they cannot express complex ideas in the new language, they are still adults with mature emotion and should not be treated like children. Adults also value independence, so giving them choices in class tasks or homework keeps them engaged. Discipline should be handled respectfully, not with the same method used for children. For example, a teacher can let learners choose between writing a short dialogue or preparing a short presentation, giving them ownership of their learning while maintaining respect.
Now, for the authentic, meaningful learning point of teaching adults is that adults are able to understand better about a context-reduced segment of language. But authenticity and meaningful is still highly important. Unlike children, adults have developed cognitive skills that allow them to deal with more abstract language. They can analyze and apply language structures without always needing an immediate, real-life example. However, even though adults can handle abstract input, they are more motivated when lessons feel authentic, connected to their personal, social, and professional lives. For example, instead of practicing random dialogues, adults benefit more from role plays about workplace communication, writing emails, or even preparing for an interview. Despite their ability to handle decontextualized language, relevant and genuine materials significantly boost their engagement and learning. Authentic materials such as newspapers, job ads, podcasts, real emails, menus, or even reports help adults see immediate value in what they are learning. Relevance increases motivation. An adult learner studying English for business will be more engaged when working with real business case studies rather than artificial textbook only dialogues. This leads to deeper learning, as adults often want to apply new knowledge to their work, travel, or daily communication.
Now we move for the last part, which is teaching teens. When teaching teenagers, it is important to remember that not all teaching rules apply the same way to every learner. Teens are in a transitional phase, going through physical and cognitive growth, which shape their changing opinions and ways of thinking. This makes teaching them both challenging and dynamic, as teachers need to adapt to their evolving needs.
So the first point, intellectual development of teaching teens is around age 12. Teens' brain develop the ability to think more abstractly. This means they begin to move beyond simple, concentrate ideas and can understand more complex or deeper concepts. For example, a younger child may say stealing is bad because you get punished, while a teenager may say stealing is wrong because it's unfair and hurts others.
Next, for teenagers, intellectual maturity generally allows them to develop longer attention spans compared to younger children. However, keeping activities short and simple is still an effective approach. This is because even with their growing ability to focus, teenagers may have different levels of attention depending on their interests, energy, or mood. Shorter activities make it easier to accommodate this difference and give students a variety of learning experiences, which helps maintain their motivation and engagement throughout the lesson.
So now let's move to the next point, which is the sensory input. As you can see here, while diverse sensory input remain valuable, teenagers' growing capacity for abstract thought makes it less crucial than with younger learners. It means when children are young, they need to see, touch, and experience things directly to really understand them. For example, counting blocks to learn numbers. But as teenagers grow, their brains become better at abstract thinking. This means they can understand ideas just by hearing or reading about them, or by following logical explanation without always needing to physically interact with objects. So, while hands-on, sensory learning is still helpful. It's not as essential for teens as it is for younger children, because teens can now use language and reasoning to grasp more complex and abstract concepts.
For the next point, teenagers are at a stage where emotion and self-identity are very important, so they can be sensitive to peer approval and criticism. They need encouragement, respect, and opportunities to express themselves, but also clear guidance and support from the teacher. For example, if a teen feels shy to speak in front of the whole class, the teacher can first let them practice in pairs or small groups, building confidence before presenting to everyone.
The last point of teaching teens. As secondary school students get older, their brains develop and they become more like adults in how they understand language, even when there are many clues around. Teenagers are at a stage where their thinking skills are more advanced than children. They are able to process language that is less dependent on visuals or immediate context. This means they can handle abstract ideas, critical thinking tasks, and more complex discussion in class. For instance, they can typically follow a debate about a social issue discussed only through spoken arguments without needing to see the specific situation being debated firsthand. Unlike younger learners, teens can engage with higher level content such as debates, problem-solving tasks, and discussions on social issues. They don't need everything to be concrete or demonstrated. Instead, they can use reasoning and imagination to understand and respond meaningfully.